What would you do if you discovered a 200-year-old weapon worth $100,000 hidden in your grandfather's attic? In the high-stakes world of Pawn Stars, ordinary people walk through those doors every day, carrying extraordinary pieces of history, deadly artifacts that once changed the course of battles and shaped empires. Today, I'm taking you behind the scenes of the most jaw-dropping weapon transactions ever filmed at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. Our journey begins with perhaps the most historically significant sword ever brought into the shop, an antique Russian saber from the 20th century. The moment it was unwrapped, Chumley knew he was looking at something extraordinary. The sword's unusual design immediately caught his attention, but it was the mysterious Arabic writing etched into the blade that truly puzzled him. Like any responsible pawnbroker dealing with a potential treasure, Chumley called in an expert to unravel this weapon's secrets. What the expert revealed left everyone in the room stunned. This wasn't just any Russian saber. It belonged to Russian Prince Ivan Ivanovich Odoki, who was killed in the Battle of Brienne with this very sword at his side. Talk about holding history in your hands. The Arabic inscription indicated the blade was crafted in Persia, making it an even rarer cross-cultural military artifact. When the expert dropped the bombshell valuation of $75,000 to $100,000, you could practically hear jaws hitting the floor. Next up is a weapon that exemplifies both deadly function and artistic beauty. A Boutte shotgun, crafted by none other than Napoleon Bonaparte's personal gunsmith. The moment Rick laid eyes on this firearm, he recognized it as the work of a true master craftsman. These weren't made for ordinary soldiers, Rick explained. Boutte created weapons exclusively for royalty and the highest-ranking military officials. The shotgun's previous owner inherited it from his father, but faced a common collector's dilemma. His wife didn't appreciate having an antique weapon displayed on their wall. Initially asking for $10,000, the seller had no idea of the treasure he possessed. Rick, suspecting the shotgun might be worth considerably more, called in weapons expert Alex Cranmer to authenticate and value the piece. What makes this story particularly fascinating is that the expert insisted on test-firing the centuries-old weapon. The risk paid off spectacularly. Not only did the antique shotgun still function perfectly, but this demonstration of working condition tripled its value to $30,000. The medieval period brought us some of history's most ingenious killing tools, and few were as revolutionary as the crossbow. So effective was this weapon that in 1096, Pope Urban II actually banned its use against Christians, a fascinating historical footnote that Corey shared when a seller brought in an 18th century antique crossbow. What made this particular crossbow special wasn't just its age, but the family crest engraved upon it, and its unique reloading mechanism. The seller, confident in his treasure, asked for an ambitious $20,000. The weapons expert called in revealed something fascinating. By the 18th century, crossbows were no longer primarily battlefield weapons, but had become recreational sporting equipment for German nobility. This particular example likely belonged to an aristocratic family who used it for target shooting or hunting. Unfortunately for the seller, the expert valued the crossbow at $10,000, half the asking price, partly because they couldn't test fire it without risking damage to the antique mechanism. Corey offered $5,000, but the seller decided to hold on to his piece of nobility's hunting history, hoping for a better offer down the road. Perhaps the most unusual weapons ever brought into the pawn shop were a pair of 19th century crutches that concealed fully functional pistols within their frames. This ingenious combination of medical aid and self-defense tool immediately captured Rick's imagination. The firearms expert called in was equally impressed, explaining that these were extremely rare examples of concealed weapons designed for disabled individuals during a time when personal protection was essential, but not always accessible to those with physical limitations. What makes concealed weapons particularly valuable to collectors is their dual nature. They're both functional tools and expressions of human ingenuity. After successful test firing proved these weren't just novelty items, but working firearms, the expert valued them at $25,000. The seller initially asked for the full $25,000, but Rick, ever the businessman, countered with $13,000. After some back and forth, they settled on $15,000, a substantial sum that reflects both the rarity and the unusual nature of these weapons. If you thought the pistol crutches were innovative, the 16th century sword pistol takes weapon combination to an entirely different level. This rare weapon featured both a sharp blade and a single-shot pistol built into the hilt. The perfect tool for hunters taking down wild boar or warriors facing multiple opponents. The seller confidently asked for $20,000, prompting Rick to call in his weapons expert. What made this particular sword pistol exceptional wasn't just its age or condition, but the fact that it still functioned as both a sword and a firearm after more than 400 years. The expert confirmed its authenticity and valued it at $12,000, highlighting how these weapons were the pinnacle of 16th century weapons technology, the equivalent of carrying both a rifle and a bayonet in a single package. Despite the expert's valuation, Rick offered $7,000, citing the challenges of finding the right buyer for such a specialized item. The seller countered with $10,500, but ultimately walked away, planning to try his luck at auction. Not all valuable weapons are centuries old. When a young man brought in a life-sized replica sword from the video game World of Warcraft, it proved that modern collectibles can command serious attention from the right buyers. Still in its original packaging and featuring incredible attention to detail, this fantasy weapon represented the growing market for gaming memorabilia. The seller ambitiously asked for $5,000, clearly aware of the passionate collector community surrounding the game. The expert confirmed the sword's authenticity and valued it at $1,350, considerably less than the asking price, but still impressive for what is essentially a decorative item with no historical significance beyond gaming culture. After negotiations, Rick and the seller agreed on $750. Few names in firearms history carry the weight of Samuel Colt, and the Colt Dragoon represents one of his most significant contributions to American weaponry. When a seller brought in this powerful revolver asking $13,000, Corey immediately recognized its importance. Fortunately, this example proved genuine, though the expert valued it at $8,500, significantly below the seller's expectations. Our final weapon holds a fascinating secret that even its owner didn't suspect. What appeared to be a standard 19th century Japanese sword with a wooden blade, common among post-World War II confiscated weapons, contained a hidden surprise that dramatically increased its value. When the expert began examining the sword, he discovered a concealed compartment within the handle, a hidden coin pocket where samurai would store emergency funds. This unexpected feature transformed what might have been a relatively common souvenir into a valuable historical artifact worth approximately $8,000. What's your favorite weapon from Pawn Stars history? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world's most famous pawn shop.